I don't know if my wife is cheating on me or if I'm just paranoid. Like the title says, I think my wife is cheating on me. It started with our S-Time life. We used to have S-Time about twice a week. But for the past 6 months we do it twice a month at most, and I'm the one that's been instigating it. I didn't think much of it because she was fired from her job 8 months ago and has been staying home since. So I thought maybe she's just depressed or just not in the mood. But a month ago my coworker called me and asked why I didn't tell him I bought an M3. I was confused and he explained he saw a green M3 parked in our drive. I asked my wife about it and she said it was her sister. So I completely forgot about it. But on Friday I called my wife on my lunch break and she was out of breath. Like she was in the middle of working out. And that's what she told me. But during the call I heard like some kind of slapping noises. I thought maybe she was working out during our call. We have a mini gym at our house so it's not unusual. But in the evening I met up with a buddy of mine for a beer and complained about our S-Time life. I also told him about that strange call and he said, bro, some guy was pounding your wife when you called. And after thinking about it, makes perfect sense. But I don't know if I'm just paranoid or if there's something to it. I also don't know how to prove it if she is. Which I doubt she is, but I can't get these thoughts out of my head. Before someone suggests a camera, we have one in our drive, but I didn't save it when my coworker called about the M3 so I can't verify who it was. But I checked the recording for when I called her and there wasn't a car parked in our drive. Just her car. Update, the M3 wasn't her sister's. I messaged her sister asking if she was driving an M3 then and she wasn't. She had an X5 on loan from the dealership. So I know my wife lied about who she was with. Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1, you think she took your call while having S-Time with someone else and didn't even stop? Is she that psycho? Tilda, that seems really unlikely. Tilda. Edit, I'm getting a lot of feedback that this is common, apparently? Oh well. Redditor follow up, half the excitement in affairs is the risk of being caught. Taking part in risky behavior is pretty on brand for people having an affair. Redditor 2, could you explain why you've said you have a remote house, yet your co-worker just happened to see this M3 in your drive? What was your co-worker doing at your remote house about a month ago? Op answer, you can see the drive from the country road, the closest neighbor is a mile down the road. That's what makes it remote. What he was doing on that road I have no clue. Redditor 3, does her sister have a green M3? Surely this should be easy to check. You need to get yourself a camera in the house, otherwise you will drive yourself mad. At the moment you know nothing for definite and you need answers. A car can be parked down the street so you need a camera in the house. Op answer, her sister works at a BMW dealership, so she has a different car almost every month. So it's possible she was driving a new M3. I'm not close with her sister at all. In fact, we don't get along, so I can't really ask her. Redditor 4, sounds like you need to use some vacation time and go home at lunchtime. Redditor follow up, this is good. Op sounds like a person that needs to see it to believe it. Update, so I thought I'd update everyone on this whole cheating situation. Thanks to someone's suggestion I bought a camera for the back door. I called my wife like I usually do during my lunch break yesterday and I heard the exact same thing. Her breathing heavily and weird slapping like noises in the background. So when I got home I checked the cameras, no one apart from her was home and my wife hasn't left. So when I got back from work I had a serious talk with her. I told her basically everything, how I thought she was cheating because of her recent change in behavior, her lying about the car and those weird noises. I also told her I bought a new camera to check. We talked for a few hours and everything was cleared up. The noises was her masturbating. She said she wasn't honest about it because she felt awkward that she enjoyed doing it while on a call with me. As for her lying about the car, she didn't. It was her sister. But her sister lied to me about what car she was driving. I guess she hates me enough to duck with me. We also discussed our decline in S-Time life and her taking better care of herself, ordering more lingerie despite not having S-Time. She told me she was simply bored. Not just with the S-Time with me but also with life. She apologized that she made me think she was cheating. We agreed to try and spice things up S-Time wise. We also agreed I'll take a 2-week holiday next month so we can go traveling together like we used to in hopes of rebuilding the spark between us. So thanks to everyone that left great suggestions and all those supportive comments and messages. This is probably not the juicy dramatic update everyone was expecting, but I'm extremely glad it's not. I couldn't imagine losing my wife. Redditor's reactions story 2 after. Redditor 1, well maybe you can work in her masturbating to your calls into your S-time life. Tell her that when you get home you want to pick up where she left off. Redditor 2, so somehow this resonates with me and I'm not sure why, but I'll figure it out for me later, but the being bored and all, and put it with the decline in SX, she's depressed? There's no shame for that, but it really FCKS with your head, and the thing is you want to be intimate but it's not appealing, but doing something like what you're saying makes things seem a bit exciting again. In a way I think the sister is a huge problem and that needs more discussion. Communication is always great and figure it out. I hope it goes well. This is an edit. My last relationship wasn't stellar, it's nothing like yours. We weren't married and he ended up basically cheating on me and breaking up with me, but that last year or so our bedroom incompatibility took a toll. Mind you, it was some of him and some of me. My depression can kinda explain a lot if it. I wasn't interested in SX, I wanted intimacy, and was trying real hard for half of the relationship to try to help figure out what would work for us, and he didn't want to make much effort aside from telling me I needed to do better. Whole other thing, but why it resonates is you were trying to make an effort to figure out stuff it seems, and in my case I just didn't have a drive anymore, and when I did, it was not moments I'd have chosen. Sometimes getting off is something if okay I got to do this before I go nuts, and masturbation is easiest because you know what to do with yourself. Honestly, it's all the things. Y'all can communicate okay and figure it out, could be health issues, or whatever, but don't beat yourself up about it. Op answer, thanks. Me and her sister have had beef for years. I hate her, she hates me. There's nothing really to discuss here. Redditor 3, really awesome to read a story where things work out for the best despite the situation and suspicions. Awesome for you and your wife. Redditor 4, the noises was her masturbating. She said she wasn't honest about it because she felt awkward that she enjoyed doing it while on a call with me. What can possibly make a slapping noise while a girl masturbates? I'm still a bit apprehensive. Op answer, probably one of her toys I would presume. I don't know, I didn't ask for the specifics. Story 2, didn't think I'd find myself here again. I don't even know where to start right now. I found out a few weeks ago that my 40 meters wife 38F of 17 years is cheating again. She has had a string of other men, 5 that I know of for sure, and maybe 6 or 7 if you count guys I know she's only texted with over their last 10 years. The most recent is the doctor she works with at the hospital. Before that it was a drunken thing that happened in our home a year and a half ago that we'd reconciled and I thought moved on from, and managed to find ourselves in the best place we'd ever been. As recently as 3 months ago she told me, I'm really glad we're doing life together. Things are really good. It stands out for me because that's much more emotional cheesy than she ever gets. Turns out this thing with the doctor has been on and off, mostly on for the last year or so. I started getting suspicious when the drinks on Thursday after work with the whole office turned into just the 2 of them and her not getting home until almost 10:30 at night. I confronted her about it, saying that I wasn't stupid, bringing up some other things that I'd seen, and flat out asking her, and she didn't deny it. Now we're in this weird limbo type position where I'm not willing to do anything to upset my kids' lives by leaving either with or without them, and she says she's not going to stop seeing him. She says they haven't slept together, and I don't know if that's better or worse. All the other affairs weren't emotional I love you type things, but she says she loves this guy. Some days she says she sees it as something in addition to what we have, that is doesn't detract from how she feels about me or what we have, and others she says she started it because she feels like there's something missing from our relationship but she doesn't know what it is. By her own admission everything depends on the day for her, which leaves me in a hell of a confusing place. I want to reconcile for the sake of my children if nothing else. Our home isn't one of constant argument or anything like that, and until I found this out everyone seemed happy. The kids can tell I've been down the last few weeks though, and my own anxiety has been through the roof. I've been accused of smothering and trapping her with my emotions over the weekend. Apparently being sad and anxious after finding out your spouse has been cheating on you for a year is emotional manipulation. She doesn't understand why it's a big deal for me and why I just can't let it go and be okay. I understand there are people in very happy ethically non-monogamous relationships and that polyamory works for some people. I'm not even opposed to the idea in principle, but it's not something we discussed, and I don't know if I have the kind of trust in her or our relationship right now to even consider it. I'm in therapy and having that voice of reason has been helpful, but I'm still not sure what my next step needs to be. I've considered just moving into the bonus room upstairs and turning this into a roommate type situation. Sitting next to her every night not knowing who she's texting on her phone and what she's saying is starting to hurt more than I think I can deal with. As much as anything I just feel stupid and like a failure. A part of me knows and recognizes that isn't true, but those are damn strong emotions to try and get past right now. This has turned out longer than I'd intended and it's still the quick version. Thanks to those of you who made it this far. Edit, it's been hard to read through everyone's replies even though I knew this is what they'd look like. To answer a couple of common themes questions, no, this isn't a fetish of mine, and yes, my therapist is helping me work through codependency issues. I haven't talked with many people in my life about what is going on, largely out of embarrassment. I knew posting here would be a good way to get the hard truths I wasn't getting other places. So, thanks for your honesty even in the instances where it was brutal, and thank you to the folks who have shown kindness as well. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1. When I got to the part where she told you that she and the doctor aren't being physically intimate, I stopped reading. You're believing what you're told by a serial cheater? Why do you waste our time here? You have no marriage, guy, you're her babysitter. Redditor follow up, that's a bit brutal, he isn't wasting our time, being stuck is being stuck. We aren't all able to run for the door at the first, third or fourth sign of cheating. Sometimes we have to talk about it right up until the time the fog lifts and we can move on. Whilst I may agree that his partner is never gonna get any more honest and her cheating seems absolutely habitual, there are kinder things to say than being a waste of our time. Redditor 2, I rather hope your therapist isn't guiding your decisions because they seem to think you can reconcile and be happy being a roommate. Your therapist isn't saying this? Get a lawyer so you don't accidentally give away your custody rights. Don't tell her about the lawyer. Just do it. Redditor follow up, I rather hope your therapist isn't guiding your decisions because they seem to think you can reconcile and be happy being a roommate. Your therapist isn't saying this? I'm starting to feel that it is the case. That therapist wants this to be one of his successful stories probably. Redditor 3, I found out a few weeks ago that my 40 meters wife 38F of 17 years is cheating again. First mistake. Never take a cheater back. What were you thinking? That all of a sudden she was going to be a good wife? No. It never happens. For duck's sake, have some self-respect for a second, lawyer up, gather info and divorce her. Redditor follow up, I came here to say something like this, but after reading the post, I decided not to. Neither have any desire to put his foot down to stop the affair, more move on in life. So there is no point on saying anything. Redditor 4, your lack of self-respect and self-esteem is sad to see. Is all I have to say about it. To be honest though, this is your fault for enable her, this is a hell of your own making, continuing to forgive and forgive, well deal with it. I have agree with your wife at this point. Just deal with it like you always do. Redditor follow up, on the previous he made, people probably told him to divorce her. But this douchebag did the complete opposite. I have no ducking clue of what he was expecting, lol. This is all his fault. Redditor 5, my dude, sorry to say but you set yourself up for her cheating even after you forgave her the first time she did. Get her out of your life. Redditor 6, this is so unhealthy for you and your children. They are seeing this unhappiness. Do you want them to see this as a normal behavior in a relationship? I would not want them to be in a relationship like this in their life. Having parents separated and happy is a better situation in the long run for kids and everyone. Don't stay for the kids but leave for the kids' mental stability. Answer, you're right. Even if I could manage to put on a good enough show to make them think everything was okay, at some point this comes out and I'll have spent years at that point showing my kids that this kind of thing is acceptable and okay. I don't think I've given that enough consideration. Thank you. Redditor 7. If she can't understand why you feel how you feel, and if it isn't a big deal for her, then she surely doesn't mind if you tell all your friends and family about her second relationship that she had behind your back, right? Your wife needs a hard reality check though, to be honest. If you stay with her, then you know by now exactly what you are signing up for. She showed you repeatedly how much she enjoys it to betray you and cheat on you. If you stay with her and the same happens again, which it will, then you have no one else to blame for the way you feel but yourself.